This week, a piece of civil rights history will go on the auction block, a house where the mother of the civil rights movement, Rosa Parks, lived. This small wooden home is where she, her husband, her brother's wife, and their 13 children lived together. Parks received so many death threats after her famous refusal in 1955 to give up her seat on a Montgomery, Alabama bus that 2 years later, she and her husband would seek refuge in her brother's house, this one, in Detroit. Rosa Parks died in 2005, and eventually her home fell into disrepair and was almost demolished in Detroit, and that's when Parks' niece, Rhea, purchased it. But then a new journey began involving that house. It's an extraordinary story. Joining me right now are Rhea McCauley, Rosa Parks' niece, and Arlen Ettinger, president of the Guernsey's Auction House. Good to see you both.
Nice to be here.
Thank you.
So this auction will be taking place this week, quite extraordinary. But Rhea, if you could explain to me, this house has had quite a journey after being the safe refuge, for your aunt Rosa Parks, where she moved. When you made this purchase, I understand for what, $500? Then
Yes.
came a new odyssey of where that home would end up. And it would end up in Germany. Explain how all that would happen.
This has been an emotional ride, of course, but once it was over in Germany, I felt the home was safe, finally. And for the family, that was what we wanted. That was the first step. And the second step was to see Ryan Mendoza work so hard on the home himself. And he would be out in the wintertime putting up things. He would send me video. Mm-hmm. And then the second step was, of course, traveling to Germany and seeing the restored work of art myself. And I can't begin to tell you, I felt like I had all the air sucked out of me.
Oh, so now I understand while it was in Germany, because of your good friend who is an artist who helped make it happen there in Germany, it would become quite the tourist site. People would come from all walks to see this
Yes.
home of Rosa Parks.
Yes.
And at what point was a decision made that it would go from Germany to now Brown University would get involved in Rhode Island, and this house would be taken apart, and again, it would have another sojourn?
Oh, that's a good question. Brown was actually selected from a choice of several people, several locations where the house could have been displayed at. Brown was chosen because they seemed like they were trying to make reparations for their terrible history with slavery. I had yet to realize how far racism went in this country. Brown rejecting Auntie Rosa was a slap across my face.
Wow. So now it is being put up for auction. I mean, this has to be really personal for you. And this decision to now, let go of this physical reminder of your aunt, who is also a national treasure.
Yes.
And the sacrifice that she made, and the mother of the modern day civil rights movement.
Yes.
Tell me about this decision to say you're willing to let it go and it be auctioned.
Well, as a part of the McCauley family, we understood, and I had yet to learn how loved she is around the world. Auntie Rosa's greatly loved. And we have been, I want to say, trained to realize that I don't own Auntie Rosa. She's not that small. And because she is loved around the world, we understand greatly that sometimes you have to be able to let her go. Let her go because people need to understand the impact that she had on the history of the world and how people, how people view her. So that has been hard, and I can just tell you, I don't know the Malcolm X or the Dr. King children personally, but they have had to go through similar and like experiences that our family has.
And we can feel just how personal, this is for you. So Arlen, knowing, this personal attachment, to this house, and
Yes.
this history with someone who made such an incredible sacrifice. Who, at the time, she just said, I was tired. She wasn't looking at it in terms of just how giant this move would become. What
Yes.
is it? I mean, how do you put a dollar figure? How do you put value on this representation of this extraordinary woman for this auction this week?
It's very.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go, Mr. Arlen. Sorry.
It's very hard
Sorry,
to
Ms. Ria.
try to determine what something might conceivably sell for when it's as historic as this. But just 2 years ago, Guernsey's was successful in seeing that the entire archive of Rosa Parks was sold and then donated to the United States Library of Congress. The auction that we have coming up is one that focuses on African American history and culture, and in addition to the Rosa Parks home, has many extraordinary items relating to Dr. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, even the contract signed by Joe Jackson to put his children, the Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson, into the recording world. So, it's an auction, and we believe that good things are going to happen. This home is going to find its proper place where it can inspire future generations, as the memory of Mrs. Parks certainly does. We have in this auction, additionally, a simple one-page document that Rosa Parks wrote just days after she first met Dr. Martin Luther King for the very first time. And hearing him speak, she wrote, "Today I met a man I will never forget."
Gosh.
And it was only then, months later, that she refused to give up her seat on the bus. And that coming together on this one piece of paper that we have has to be one of the most extraordinary documents I'm aware of relating to our nation's history.
And she, obviously, a woman we will never forget and are forever grateful for what she did and how she did it. Ms. Ria McCauley, Mr. Arlen Ettinger, thank you so much. And I did read that the pre-auction estimated value may be somewhere between $1 and $3 million for that structure.
Who knows? It's an auction.
Yeah.
Hard to predict.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.